Hello, church. Spent a lot of the day thinking about what to say. When I was in Hagerstown as a youth pastor, I didn't get to preach a lot, only when the senior pastor was out of town. But at least once a year I got to preach when he was in town. And that was always on or around the 4th of July. Pastor Ray Davis was from Britain. And he felt like that one time a year at 4th of July when we were celebrating getting rid of British rule, that it would be better for a message concerning those things come from someone without a British accent. And so he always let me preach on the 4th of July. And so I was reading today in preparation for what I want to share on the message for the next couple minutes. One of my old sermons from the 4th of July. And here's just a couple quotes from it. Solzhenitsyn was a Russian dissident, and he said this: "To destroy a people, you first must sever their roots." Psalm 33:12 says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord." If a nation wants to be blessed, here's the way you do it. You make God the focus of who you are and what you are. The same is the opposite of that is also true. It implies a curse. Cursed is a nation whose God isn't the Lord. In fact, another psalm says that the nation that turns away from God will be turned into hell. It is a verse of promise, and for 200 years we have been blessed. Have we been perfect? No. The Constitution was written in order to form a more perfect union. That implies that the union wasn't perfect, though it uses the word perfect. They're going towards being more and better perfect, if that's possible. I think it is, because over the last 200 and plus years, we have been getting better at who we are. On one hand, we have also been getting worse at who we are, unfortunately. On the walls of the Jefferson Memorial in Washington, D.C., are some of his quotes, and one of the quotes that he wrote is, "God, who gave us life, gave us liberty. Can the liberties of a nation be secure when we have removed the conviction that these liberties are the gift of God?" On July 4th, 1776, 56 men signed their lives, their fortunes, their sacred honor to the document we call the Declaration of Independence. In that document, they recognized that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness were God-given rights. They don't come from government. We are born with them. Red, yellow, black, and white. We are born with the right to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. Certain unalienable rights. Non-transferable. I can't give my rights to you. You can't take my rights from me. except the one who gave them to me, and that's God. They are God-given. And as we have removed God from our country, we have lost those rights. Liberty has been changed to mean freedom to do anything that you want with no limits. And yet true liberty from God has limits. And yet we live in a world without any limits, and it's falling apart. The pursuit of happiness. True happiness is only found within the confines of what God has called us to be. In pursuing to be the best that we can be with God, we find true happiness. Of those 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence, 9 died of wounds or hardships during the war. 5 were captured and imprisoned, in each case with brutal treatment. Several lost their wives, sons, and entire families. One man alone lost all 13 of his children. 2 wives were brutally treated. All were at one time or another the victim of manhunts and driven from their homes. 12 signers had their homes completely burned. 17 lost everything they owned, yet not one of them defected and went back on his pledged word. I wish we still had men that took their pledges as seriously as those 56 men that signed the Declaration. Samuel Adams said, "The rights of the colonists are best understood by reading and carefully studying the New Testament." James Madison, "We have staked the whole of our political institutions on the capacity of mankind to govern themselves according to the Ten Commandments of God." In the early days of America, education was a big deal. Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Dartmouth were founded by Christians with strong moral values and an absolute faith in God. In fact, the first 108 colleges founded, 106 were Christian schools. As new territories were added, money and land was set aside for schools and churches to be built. One of the earliest public school systems was in Washington, D.C. One of its first superintendents was Thomas Jefferson, and one of its first textbooks was the Word of God. We've come a long way. One of the early graduates of Harvard was a man by the name of Samuel Francis Smith. And he wrote these words that he hoped would become the national anthem. It still sort of looked like one of our national anthems, not the Star Spangled Banner though. But he wrote this: "My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the Pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside let freedom ring. My native country thee, land of the noble free, thy name I love. I love their rocks and reels, thy woods and templed hills, My heart with rapture thrills like that above. Let music swell the breeze and ring from all the trees sweet freedom's song. Let mortal tongues awake, let all that breathe partake. Let rocks their silence break, the sound prolong. Our fathers, God, to thee, author of liberty, to thee we sing. Long may our land be bright with freedom's holy light. Protect us by thy might, great God our King. Our nation has done a lot wrong, but they've done a whole lot more right. And I'm proud to be an American. But even in saying that, I am more proud and more honored to be a part of God's family. I'm so glad I'm a part of the family of God. I'm joint heirs with Jesus. I'm a part of his family. And so while I love this country, the reality of it is I'm an alien, just passing through. And one day I will stand before my God. And when I stand before my God, I want to be able to hear, "Well done, thy good and faithful servant." I want my God to say, "You've done all you could to reach the lost. You've done all you could to be the best that I've called you to be." I hope to hear that, but I probably won't, because I fail him in so many ways. But even in those times where I fail him, he is right there beside me to hold me up, to let me know that he loves me, and to give me the strength to do better. I'm glad I live in a country where I can serve my God as I see fit, and to impact my world in such a way that they see Jesus living in me. I hope that's true of you. Go out there, church, and be faithful. God bless.